Right there, that's Matt Derda. He is a singer-songwriter. He's an Americana artist. He's a fantastic guy. In the backseat, we have Eric, one of the proprietors, one of the owners of 302 Wheaton. We're here with food. We're here with mirth. It's the holiday season. Lovely to see you guys.
Great to see you too, yeah.
All right, so I want to ask Matt all about his music and his career, but we've got food sitting here.
Yes, we do.
It is, the smell is killing me. First of all, I'm enjoying a peppermint milkshake from 302 Wheaton. This is legit.
It's my wife's favorite milkshake, so kind of have to do it.
It is so good. How long has this place been open, Eric?
September of 2019, so 5 months before the pandemic.
Which, as a restaurant owner, yeah.
Great timing.
Was this a gas station?
At one point, yeah, it was a Standard Oil gas station, and then before we opened it, it was Bell Transmission, but it sat vacant for about 16 years.
I love what you've done with the place.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I love this strip too in Wheaton.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So Matt, you're a Wheatonite.
Yes, I am.
You actually picked this place. You're like, we got to
go. Well, as you can tell from the points I had when I got the food, I come here about once a week.
Yeah, I think you got a free car for this order. That was like a tipper. All right, so let's bust open the food here. Again, we're at 302 Wheaton. In Wheaton. And I want to ask you, Eric, about all the bourbons and whiskeys. Perceptually, I'm from the north. I'm over by there. My perception of Wheaton is that it's dry, it's conservative. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Oh yeah, I grew up here.
Okay,
so it was dry until 1985. There's a bar in Wheaton, but the city drew a border around it, so it became unincorporated. So they didn't have any bars in Wheaton. That used to be called the Gables back when I was growing up. And
talk about loopholes.
I know. And there was a nice sign out front. It looked like a lemonade to me when I was a kid, but it was a pint of beer. It's now Rosie O'Reilly's.
I was going to ask, it's the place by Cosley Zoo, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I've always wanted to go in there. I haven't yet.
We might be going tonight. So after this, let's head over.
All right, we've got some onion rings here.
Now let's do a little show and tell here, Matt Derda.
Delicious onion rings.
Oh, I can smell this. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of my personal favorites, the shoestring French fries.
Wait, hold it up.
So the menu was much simpler back when we started. It was supposed to be a burger fry shake. Mm-hmm. And then we added onion rings. And then we were doing so much takeout during COVID. The onion rings just didn't. They get a little soggy if they travel too far. So we bailed on that. And then we started doing tater tots. And then people were so upset that we got rid of the onion rings. We brought that back. So now we're doing fries, onion rings, and tater tots.
These are awesome.
Thank you.
Are you eating your food tonight?
Am I eating my food?
Yeah.
No, I ate somewhere else. You can only eat burgers so many times. They are good burgers, but I do not.
Is that a dare? Is that a challenge? Because I will. I will eat burgers so many times. All right, so do something with the fries.
All right. Here's the fries.
Should have gotten some Schlick Sauce. Fries and the Schlick Sauce is probably...
What's the Schlick Sauce?
What is the Schlick Sauce? We need to make T-shirts about that. The Schlick Sauce, everyone asks, what's the Schlick Sauce? Who's Schlick? What is that? So my last name is Schlickman. People called me Schlick growing up. I jokingly coined the sauce as Schlick Sauce, thinking it was a joke. It stuck. So when people ask, a lot of my employees say, oh, well, it's mayo-based and has this and that. I just tell people it's magical and just get it.
These rings are great.
Thanks.
These are fantastic. All right, we've got all kinds of burger stuff in there.
All right,
Matt, you don't know what to do with yourself, do you? Just use the dashboard. That is the table.
Right. There we go. Let's see what's next. Oh, I think I know what this is. This is the famous Wheaton Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Let's try to show this to the camera without spilling it.
Yard selling all over the car.
The Wheaton Bowl. So
it's
a bowl, so it's healthy.
Yeah, it is healthy.
Yeah.
It's very healthy. It's a deconstructed burger with grilled in onions and Schlick sauce, and then topped with tomatoes and pickles and a little bit more Schlick sauce. And it's all on top of a bed of tots. So it's not only a bowl, but it is gluten-free.
All right, so
only 100 calories a bite.
Let's see what's next, and then I think we need to rock, paper, scissors for who gets what.
All right, here we go.
Oh, that smells. I smell the Schlick sauce.
This is my favorite.
Well, then you're going to eat that.
This is the famous burgers. And for people from the West Coast, I'm going to just go ahead and say it.
Yep.
302 is a million times better than In-N-Out.
A little closer.
Oh, snap. Whenever I meet someone from California that comes to 302, I always ask them that question.
Oh, it's for sure better than...
And,
Can I see?
yeah, they begrudgingly say it.
I do like a thin patty. Got the melty cheese, pickle slices. This looks great.
The proportions are just...
Brioche bun?
It's called a gourmet bun, but it's pretty close. It's somewhere in between a brioche and a...
Wheaton brioche bun.
It's a Wheaton brioche.
Yep. That's
So again, we're at 302
technical
Wheaton. In the back seat is Eric, one of the owners of 302 Wheaton. To my right, it is Matt Derda. He is a musician. He is not performing tonight. I'm not making him sing for his supper. That's your favorite?
I would.
You have that. I'm going to go for the heart healthy bowl.
Right.
Because once you say burger and sauce over tots,
Oh, yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, look at this. This doesn't feel as reckless to me.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me after I eat the tots.
You can only get that in Wheaton, too.
Yep.
That's
So the
great
Wheaton
thing.
Bowl, it actually was not going to be this product, this finished product. But I did know I wanted to go bowl, and we obviously use Wheaton a lot. We're a community-centric restaurant.
You have to be.
But there used to be an old bowling alley in Wheaton. It was right next to Wheaton North. I went there as a high schooler, went there as a kid. Just classic old bowling alley. So it finally closed. They're probably going to tear it down. They ripped out all the lanes. So the Wheaton Bowl is an homage to the Wheaton Bowl.
I love it. It's delicious. Tots are cooked perfectly. The burger tastes amazing. The pickles and the sauce is great. Schlick sauce.
Schlick sauce.
Yeah, Schlick
Rolls
Sauce
off the
is
tongue.
where it's at.
Now, am I a bad person if I eat this, then eat French fries and onion rings?
No.
No.
I'm a good person.
Yes. And
I mean, I do it every week. So.
So, Eric, you said a couple magic words. You talked about being Wheaton-centric and
Yep.
community-centric, and you also talked about launching this restaurant right before the pandemic.
yeah.
How important was the involvement of the community to stay alive?
Oh, huge, very important. I think it was, I think the community works as hard, and kind of recognizes your efforts. You see other restaurants, kind of other places that didn't try very hard, I would say, during the pandemic. We were changing as the world was changing, which kind of became almost daily. And I don't know if it was really to survive, but it was just people in the 5 months that we were open before the pandemic. We didn't know what to expect, but it was kind of a decent, kind of a big success, I would say, much bigger than what we thought it would be. And so when the pandemic hit, it was like, well, how can we serve our community like the best we can during this? So honestly, at the beginning, when things were just changing and no one knew what was going on, we closed for 2 weeks. I paid all my career employees during those 2 weeks. And then we kind of regrouped, created a strategy going forward for takeout, audibled, and just started kind of changing with the ever-changing times.
You have to be nimble. You have to be able to pivot.
Totally.
Otherwise, good luck.
Yeah, right. And so I think everyone saw our effort and really appreciated that effort. And so we were giving back to the community. We did food drives. We were able to, through our vendors, get toilet paper, if everyone remembers when toilet paper you couldn't find on shelves. So we were giving that to local churches, local ministries, and just trying to support those people. And then I don't know if everyone saw that, but I think just people saw the effort that we were making, and they kind of returned the favor and continued to show up and continue to do takeout from 302.
Matt, that's your favorite. What's the verdict?
Oh, it's delicious. Yeah.
It looks like a perfect burger.
That's exactly how my wife and I describe it. It's the perfect burger. Like when
It's
you're
not obnoxious. You got a
Right.
single. You could have had a double.
I usually do get the double.
But that looks like a burger that you can go to bed without regretting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You never regret this. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the initial idea was a single, fry, and a beer, and that should be good. And then everyone started doing doubles, and then we had to put it on the menu. So the menu was much smaller when we first started. And then
Well, you have a chorizo
adjusted.
burger on the menu.
We do have a chorizo burger.
Is that good and hot?
It's so good. Chorizo, instead of American cheese, it's pepper jack.
Oh, there
I
you
love
go.
Spice.
And really, this is just your insidious way to get people to drink more beer.
It really
The
is.
spicier the food is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both our 302 burger and the chorizo burger and the hot dog all come from our local meat market called the Wheaton Meat Market.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Locally sourced
totally.
from the local meat market. So Matt Derda, I played you on the radio back when I had a radio career. Matt Derda and the High Watts. Love the song Moonshine.
Thank you.
In fact, is your love of liquor what led you to this restaurant?
Uh,
You walk in, the first thing I saw, it's like there's some rye and like barrel aged something or another. Like it's a wall of whiskey when you walk into this restaurant.
It was as if he built this place for me because it was burgers, and then he's got an amazing bourbon selection. And speaking of local, you guys had Wolf Point.
Oh yeah,
You bought a barrel.
we did actually 2.
Yeah, I bought like 4 or 5 bottles
Oh, nice.
of it.
That's where it all went.
Because it was so good, and it's a local Chicago distillery.
Yep.
And so it's just like, this is like a hub for local community support. And that adds, not only is it good and they have good bourbons, but it's a good place for our community.
Well, that's just it. There are plenty of chains in this area.
Right.
Plenty of big, familiar national chains. To have a local center. Restaurants, craft breweries, those are the lifebloods of our neighborhoods.
Yeah. I cannot remember the last time I had like a Wendy's burger or a Burger King burger. Like if you're going to do that, this is A, closer. And B, it's way more delicious.
Going back to your song Moonshine, have you ever had moonshine?
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh yeah. From a still that was up on a mountain. It'll
authentic.
make your chest hair grow. Yeah, it's like drinking gasoline, like legit moonshine.
Have you had Malort?
Oh, that kills all your chest hair.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
So stylistically, it's always hard when having a musician on the podcast because you can't play the music. People can't hear what Matt Derda sounds like. We can hear what you sound like when you eat food on a microphone,
Right.
which is compelling.
Sure
it's
sounds
mellifluous
just as good.
on its own. Yes, but I mean, generally, broadly, I label you as an Americana artist.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's a little bit maybe more rock and roll in there. Kind of along the line, not like super heavy, but I'm a big Drive-By Truckers fan. I love Tom Petty. But yeah, definitely like Americana in the sense of like the storytelling and everything.
I love that stuff. Love Betsy Lane.
Thank you.
That's good stuff. See, I need to be back on the radio.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing this podcast. This is Car Con Carne. If you're just hopping on, you've been doing your own show. What's Derda Fest?
Oh yeah, so Derda Fest is a show I try to do monthly. So I totally understand how huge of an effort like a live streaming podcast type
It
show
sucks.
is. It's so hard. But over the course of the pandemic, you have people who play your music like you do a really good job supporting local artists. And then outside of that, it's really hard to get people to pay attention to you. And I never, ever paid attention to Twitter. Like, wasn't on it, thought it was kind of, like, ridiculous. And when we had
I've heard people say that, like, oh, I don't get how to do it.
Yeah. I did not get it. And I figured it out when we had our daughter last year. She just turned 1, so this is literally a year ago. And just being up in the middle of the night with her having nothing to do. And I couldn't like watch YouTube, so I'd go on my phone and like look at Twitter, and was like, oh yeah, people don't care about my music, they care about themselves. So I figured out like, oh, if you ask questions about the music people like, other people like,
Which I see you doing all the time.
yeah, and then it's a way of like doing consumer data. It's like, oh, that person likes the Replacements and Drive-By Truckers. They're probably going to like my music. It makes it really easy. And yes, all of a sudden, I just had people start listening to my music that weren't family and friends, which is really hard to do, and people sharing it.
That can't be overstated. That's a big plateau once you cross that
Yes.
as a musician.
That was like, oh my God, like people are buying my T-shirts. What is this? So we started building up a community, and I started meeting other bands. And somebody had the idea to do like this guy down in Atlanta who was just like a fan. He's a and I knew it was going to be as hard as it is to run like a podcast. Like we're not going to get everybody to do a festival,
Right.
So I was like, I will figure out how to do this on streaming, and we'll have people on, and they can actually see them live, and all these bands that they're hearing and seeing on Twitter, but don't get a chance to go out to the clubs and see. And that's what we've been doing. So we started off with a great band from Austin, Texas. Bottle Cap Mountain was the first guest. A couple weeks ago, we did.
Great name.
Yeah. The name fits their sound too.
Now, if you're watching either on Facebook or YouTube, it looks like I can't stop drinking this. That's partly true. The other reason is I have nowhere to set this down, so I'm trying to drink this as fast as I can, just so I can move my hands about freely. Because I talk with my hands. I'm a hand talker. I realize that when I go to grab a screenshot of the podcast, I'm like, Jesus, put your hands down. Stop that. Put them in your pockets. This restaurant, 302 Wheaton, is there another one coming? Did I read that correctly?
There is. Yep. Not too far from here, South Wheaton. We're calling it 302 South.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is kind of a big deal. So quickly too. I don't know. I like to create things, and this one seemed to work. In the
So
South,
will it be the same menu, or are you going to try something different there? How does that work?
It'll be very similar, unless I change my mind last second and do tacos. But yeah, it'll be almost identical. The Wheaton Bowl is kind of our north side kind of place to be. So there is a Fox Bowl down on the south side, but that's still open. So I don't know if I can take that name yet. But yeah, there might be a menu item that is kind of more south side related.
And I couldn't help but notice you have an ample selection of beers on tap.
Yeah, actually the beers came before the bourbon. I know we've just talked about the bourbon, but I used to be a big craft beer guy. I used to be like an imperial.
What happened?
Yeah, 200 to 300 calories a beer. That's what happened. And so when you have like 2 or 3, it adds up quickly. So that burger, fry, and beer becomes burger, fry, beer.
Yep.
So bourbon actually is a little bit healthier in my opinion.
That's why I drink it
That's
exclusively.
why.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. You take care of yourself,
Yeah.
especially around the holidays.
Totally.
You got to watch out for yourself. All right. So Matt Derda of Matt Derda and the High Watts, Matt Derda music on the socials. What's coming up for you? We're recording this a couple days away from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What do you have going on? What's the future look like?
Yeah, so the big thing we've got coming up is we'll be at Out of Space in Berwyn on January 22nd with a band called The Dirty Green. And I think we're going to have another local musician join the band for that set, Jason Benningfield from Echoes and Ransom. So I'm super excited about that. I've got a bunch of new songs that I've been working on, and I think we're going to debut them, so that's a big deal.
I worry that your frame of reference as a songwriter may be skewed. You're generally happy guy. You got this lovely family life. You've got this unhealthy addiction with this restaurant, but I mean,
It's healthy.
Yeah. The doctor hasn't said anything yet.
So
That's why I avoid the doctor.
where's your frame of mind at these new songs?
That is a very good question. Kind of all over the place, you know? There's some that are in the vein of like the Betsy Lane, the Moonshine, that are a little bit dark. There's also some that are a little bit more upbeat. I wrote a song about Wheaton.
Did you really?
Here. Yeah. Called Dry City. And
Because as established, it was once a dry city.
And
Right.
There's a great brewery there
right.
called
Yeah.
Dry City.
Which is kind of like home base for me. I play there all the time. I swap between 302 and Dry City, but yeah, I wrote it as kind of like a kind of joke about the town. It praises it while also poking fun at, you know, the things that people know about being dry, being conservative.
Literally, I just did to Wheaton what people do to Chicago who live like overseas. I did the version a version of Al Capone Bang Bang when I describe Wheaton.
Yeah, I mean
The cliches.
It's not wrong. I think we have more churches per capita than anywhere else in the
I've
United
read that.
States.
Yeah.
Or Illinois or whatever. Yeah.
What I like about this place, it feels like it's for us. Like it's a little bit of edgy, a little bit of cool, a little bit of casual.
Yeah.
In the middle of that.
Exactly. I mean, I chose to live here, and that was knowing its knowing its reputation. But you drive down, it's like, oh, there's a brewery now. There's a record store.
Mm-hmm.
There's a music shop, and they're going to turn this gas station into a burger joint. Everything I need. I'm good.
Speaking of record stores, would you ever put your stuff out on vinyl?
I want to. I would love to. It's super expensive.
It's super expensive, and if you want it out by like 2026, you got to get that stuff to the.
Right. I'm just gonna sell Adele records.
Perfect. Perfect. You saw that story last week about the Taylor Swift record at Target, right?
No.
So, Taylor Swift fans were livid on Target.com. They ordered, I think it was a double or maybe triple record set of Taylor's, the new Taylor stuff, the new old Taylor stuff. They were complaining that when they took the record out of the sleeve, put it on the turntable, and played it, it was a man's voice. Like, who's this man singing these songs? One person said, I bought another copy, same problem with the record. The issue was that...
Speed.
Exactly. The record was recorded at 45, which gives you a higher quality sound. And people didn't realize that, so they put the record on at 33, and there was a slow voice.
I didn't notice that it was slower than...
Well, they noticed it wasn't Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And full credit to the person who just kept buying more copies. That's the definition of insanity, right? Do the same thing over and over, hoping for a different result. Yeah, I mean, I laugh, but the good news is that more people are coming back to vinyl or coming to vinyl. That can only be a good thing.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want it on vinyl, just go out and buy more Matt Derda stuff.
Buy more T-shirts.
Yeah. I really want to. I've always wanted to do like a compilation too of local Chicago artists.
You should. I support this.
Okay.
I'm on board.
I might. Like the Strugs. Have you ever heard the Strugs?
No.
One of my favorite bands. They're good buddies of mine, and they're like a really, really good band. There's a lot of good Echoes and Ransom. We got a lot of good talent.
Well, there's no shortage. I mean,
yeah.
I assume I don't know 95% of the bands out there.
Right, yeah.
And I try. Like, it's impossible to know everything.
You would probably be the guy who would know the most of them.
Hardly. But you can never know enough, and there's always a band that you discover for the first time, and you think, holy shit, where have you been? This is great. What's my life been without you? This is amazing. I'm so glad we found each other.
I know. I'm hoping I'm that band for a lot of people tonight.
All right, so if you're watching or listening, listen to his music. He is Matt Derda. You can find him on Bandcamp and the streamers. Great stuff. I'm a fan. I'm glad we were able to sit down. Why haven't you finished your burger?
I'm busy talking.
You're going to hurt Eric's feelings.
No. I've seen him eat plenty.
Yes.
This is the slowest he's eaten one.
This is true. This is very true.
So we're at 302 Wheaton. Love the food. This shake has been delightful. And I've been I want to rush the end of this so that I can go back to the Wheaton Bowl and just be a filthy animal plowing through that box without the judgment of viewers and listeners, for that matter. So, love the restaurant. Thank you for your hospitality tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
I will come back.
Beautiful car.
It needs some work. I think I'm ready for a new car. My fantasy is to have an ice cream truck for this podcast.
That'd be great.
Then I
for
can do
podcast.
performances.
The
Then I can
first
really
food truck.
I support this. I'm going to start a GoFundMe now for you to
for
get
an ice cream truck.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be amazing?
ice cream truck, and we'll put a vinyl pressing in the back.
There, do like a whole third man thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm full on board. All right, thank you for watching or for listening. Thank you guys for doing this. I want you to finish that burger again. I don't want feelings to be hurt. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.